Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Evanina, shortly after the Olympics, Summer Olympics in 2008, I was able to travel to Beijing for 10 days. And I remember how shocking it was to see how the city had been cleaned up and westernized for all those traveling for the Olympics. It also was a period of time in which I think many American corporations were not only being lured to do business in China, but certainly were more than willing to do that. And I wanted to preface kind of a question for you along those lines. So because the Chinese government has historically required foreign companies seeking to do business in China to establish the joint ventures with Chinese-based companies, particularly in industries such as oil and gas, exploration, medicine, insurance, and radio and TV items. And now the National Bureau of Economic Research found in 2015 alone, foreign companies set up slightly more than 6,000 new joint ventures in China. It accounted for almost $28 billion in foreign direct investment. And then the same study also found that as soon as 3 years after inception of these joint ventures, we all kind of know what's going on, the Chinese firms in that same industry not only exceed the technology that was brought to them by American corporations, but then also increase the productivity related to that entire industry. So my question to you is, sometimes I think we're our own worst enemies in this area, in that we continue to allow corporations to enter into these joint ventures. They, at the end of the day, come away with millions of dollars in new revenue and productivity, but you know, are we kind of chasing our own tail in this regard? I'm wondering if you could respond to that.
Congressman, thanks for the question. A bit complicated response, but yet simple in terms of thought process. I think a couple things are true with your statement. Number one, we don't play by the same rules as the Communist Party of China. We have the greatest capitalist society country in the world has ever seen, which results in businesses and industries wanting to invest globally to have a significant return on investment. And that has been true for 2 decades with anything you invest in with the Communist Party of China or companies that are within that country. So that is true. So it's hard to say to a capitalist society business entity, don't invest in China because of X, because we are a capital society. But for the first time ever, I'll proffer to the subcommittee that we are in a space right now where our global supremacy, our capitalist mindset is clearly superseding and overlapping with our national security and national interests. And I think it's going to be a crosshairs where we have to now look at what's the obligation of a financial industry, of a corporate or startup to say, listen, your investment in the Communist Party of China is fair from a capitalist perspective, but it's writ with security issues for you and the nation. And let's look at your issues in your next quarter earnings versus the national interest and national security. I think that's a really tough conversation to have, but we're going to have that.
And I'll just follow up with, just as of this week, I've had colleagues in Congress say we need to set a path for many American corporations to wean themselves off of this. And I think that the only clear path to doing that is probably legislation at some point. So I'm wondering, any thoughts on, should we go that far? And if we do go that far, what the fallout might be?
Yeah, that's a great legislative question, a policy question about that intersection between Congress and the private sector with respect to capitalism. But I will say that I believe with the impending Taiwan situation and what happened in Hong Kong and the course we're on with the Communist Party of China, that eventually investors in China will start to feel the pain. And I think they will start to begin to not be able to withdraw the money from investments. And I think the Communist Party of China will start to force us to feel the pain of that investment. I think that will change the course of American investment in China.
Thank you very much. I yield back.